Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Cindy Clara Friska. It's a precious chance for me to be your moderator and actually include the host on this very special occasion, TVD group discussion session about green building. Do they really have a higher value or than the conventional? Today, 15th of July 2022, through online media meetings. First of all, let's say thanks to the God who has been giving us guidance, happiness, health, and mercy, so we can attend and participate in this event without any obstacles. Before we proceed to our good discussion, let's take a silent moment and pray. Well, thank you. We hope we are all granted with a good health, and we all pray that the pandemic, which is currently hitting us in every continent, will disappear soon. Ladies and gentlemen, I will read out the agenda this afternoon. Our agenda today is as follows. First, the opening, then a speech from the Director of Valuation, Mr. Arik Haryono, sharings, which will be led by special speaker today, and then the question and answer session, and it's a closing. To mark the opening of our discussion group today, we humbly ask Mr. Arik Haryono to deliver the opening speech for this session. For that, with all due respect, please welcome Mr. Arik Haryono.
Pak Nafi, Mbak Cindy, thanks, Pak Nafi.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, to mark the opening of today's discussion. Okay, the closing remarks. Okay, Mr. Arik. So, with all due respect, please welcome Mr. Nafiantoro Agustiawan.
Thanks, Mbak Cindy. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon for all participants. I think it's very interesting topic that we will discuss in this afternoon. It's related to the green building, and maybe we will discuss about how the green building can impact the valuation and the value of the building. I think it's the hot issue in this moment, because we know that we can improve our even we can discuss about how the green building is like what, and then we can connect it with the value of the building. So for our participants, please feel free to discuss, and we hope we can improve our knowledge about valuation, for especially for the green building, and then for our English improvement is the benefit of our discussion in this afternoon. Okay, for me, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thanks to Mr. Nafiantoro for his remarks. Let us start to the core event. And carrying on the next part, without further ado, I will accompany you through the whole event presentation until question and answer session. Ladies and gentlemen, our speaker today is very special. He is Mr. Darmawan Dwi Atmoko, and we might call him Mr. Wawan. He is one of the section head at the Directorate of Valuation, the GSM. He has been working for Ministry of Finance in the past 20 years. He is also one of the senior property analysts in Directorate of Valuation. And he's earned his Master of Property Studies at the University of Queensland and his Doctor of Philosophy in Property Economics from Queensland University of Technology, Australia. Moreover, he is active for the academic world with research and teaching experience in the property area valuation and property investment. Not only that, his leadership has been tasked in the professional world, which has become a project secretary at the Project of Natural Resources Accounting and Valuation System, Ministry of Finance, featuring World Bank, specifically on the WEST project. He focuses on the issue of sustainable buildings, green infrastructure, and property market analysis. And currently, what is more, he is the first president of TVD's community. Before the presentation starts, let me tell you how the presentation will go first. First, Mr. Wawan will be invited to present the material. After that, there will be a question and answer session, followed by a conclusion. Then all of the participants might ask directly with raised hand, or just write your question on chat column in the Zoom meeting. Now, allow me to welcome the speaker to make his presentation. Mr. Wawan, please kindly welcome to explain the material.
Thank you so much, Cindy, for the invitation and the introduction. So, the Honorable Pak Hari Karyono, as Director of Valuation, Pak Nafi, and all friends catering here in these rooms. Again, I will also always say that this is a casual discussion. This is a egalitarian discussion. So please don't hesitate to interrupt or to discuss or to ask about any kind of question related to this issue today or this afternoon. Thank you again, Mbak Cindy, for your introduction. Mine and Mbak Cindy is one of the best data scientists here in the GSF, and yeah, he can count everything in numbers. So she can count everything in numbers. So that's thank you, Mbak Cindy. So our today is about green buildings. So let me share screen together. Is anyone can see the screen now? Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Mr. Wawan.
Yeah. See. It's better now. Yeah. So one of the what I mean like the belief of property markets is that green buildings green building is better than the conventionals and the conventional buildings. If you guys not really aware or haven't seen what is green building look like, there are some buildings here in Jakarta, not many. If I'm not wrong, like around 11 buildings compared to some other developed cities. It's far behind that. Even compared to Kuala Lumpur, it's far behind Kuala Lumpur. Kuala Lumpur has around like almost 200, yeah, 200 more than around that. So again, we are as in Indonesia or Jakarta particularly is quite new for discussing this one. And Green Building Council Indonesia was established in 2008. It's also quite new compared to other countries, even in Asia, yeah, Southeast Asian. Yeah, and the belief is that green building should bring more benefit, and one of the benefit is financial benefit, and one of the financial benefit is the value of the building itself, right? But do they really have higher value than the conventional one? Let's see. So this discussion today or this afternoon, I would like to give more evidence what it look like, what is the market say, what is the research say, like that. So start from this. Anyone recognize what is that? And what are the differences between this? Okay, two or three buildings, 3 buildings from 2 ministries. I don't think it's quite different, isn't it? If you see from outside, oh, okay, there are some difference. The sky, there is no sky from the public works buildings. I got the picture from Green Building Council actually. I forgot to put the source. Sorry for that. I will keep it after this. So it's look like not really differences, but we can see some trees on the roof. Isn't it? You can see that some little trees on the Ministry of Public, but from the Ministry of Finance, I don't see that. So maybe that's different. But actually, when we see the green buildings, or we talk about what is green building look like actually from the appearance, it's not really different actually from the conventional one, but it is can be guessed that, oh, this is green, maybe like that. But when we see when we go to inside, we feel much more better. Maybe sometime we can TVD tour for green building by India. So we can arrange TVD tours to visit green buildings, so everyone know, whoa, this is green building looks like. So that's the difference. And the right one is the green buildings, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Public Works building, the main building of the Ministry of Public Works. That is green buildings with a 6-star or platinum certificate, and the highest certificate from Green Building Council Indonesia. And the last one is there are the two buildings. There are, almost all of us know that Juanda 1 and Juanda 2, the Ministry of Finance building. Those two buildings are the conventional one. They are not certified building, or not green certified building, right? Okay, so green buildings exist, although it's not many in Indonesia or Jakarta particularly, but they exist in Jakarta or Indonesia. Right, so the benefits. Research concludes, or research compiling what is the benefit from the proposal of green concepts to the application of green buildings. There are proof of benefits. The first benefit is environmental benefits. So we talk about how the green buildings, or to what extent the green buildings save the energy, save the water. We talk about environmental benefits. When we talk about economic benefits, so we talk about long-term benefit of economics, or long-term benefit of financial benefit, long-term financial benefits. Many arguments or many evidence show that construction of green building is quite high. It's quite costly. But in the long run, from the efficiency of energy and water, the green buildings provide more financial stream that's from the building operation. And it's can be break-even point from the investment, right? And more than that, green building is what I call it, give a good prospect for rental value. So if you have a green buildings, greenhouses like that, then the rental value should be higher. That's the claim benefit. That's a proposed the concept of green building and the proof of evidence from the building. And the social benefit also one of what I mean, like the value added of green buildings. it is believed that within green buildings, the indoor environmental health is much better than the conventional one. Indoor environmental health, it's mean like the air circulation inside the buildings. We know, or maybe some of us recognize, or maybe heard, sometimes we call it 6 building syndrome. So sickness caused by the building itself. And one of the cause of 6 building syndrome is the bad of indoor environmental health. So green building is designed to make good air circulation inside the building, and then to make balance between the humidity and then the dryness and kind of climate situation of the building. So that's the benefit of green building. And again, there are some what do you mean, like infograph. This is from Green Buildings Canada. So the environmental impact of building can be 50% from natural resources. Yeah. So this some of that, and you can see that buyback. The average building costs 1 to 5 square feet on the conventional one, and 2% premium. That would be higher. Yeah. But see, the energy cost of green building is typically used only 10. No cost of green building is 20% saving from energy efficiency. Yeah. So that's some of this set is more illustration of an infograph of how green buildings is proof give benefit for the environmental, financially, and the people itself. You can see from indoor environmental quality or health, 9 to 50% reduction in sickness, 9 to 20 reduction in communicable respiratory disease, allergies, and non-specific health and discomfort. Maybe you feel headache after a whole day sitting in this building, in my building, for example. This is all building, conventional building, definitely conventional building. And of course, green building is designed to reduce the waste and use local materials and sustainable materials. We can talk this more detail maybe sometimes, how green building design and how they use very efficient material and sustainable material to ensure that building produce very, very less emission. Yeah, so this is the infographic. So we talk about the value. Do they really have good impact to the value? So do they really have the impact to the value? We see that from this infographic is quite, oh, this is good. Oh, this is very, I mean, like, you cannot achieve this kind of benefit from conventional buildings. Even we were not thinking about that when we are like staying here or working here inside the conventional buildings. We're not really thinking about that. But in fact, green building have been designed to produce this kind of benefits, so many benefits. But the question in this discussion is, so within this very wise, like there's too many benefits or this many benefits, do they really impact to this building value? Let's see. it's quite interesting. This study from Knight Frank. This is new study 2019. 8 to 18% sales price premium for green rated building compared to equivalent building without BREEAM and neighbors rating across the market, depending on the level of green ratings. So there are some ratings for green building, and there are some measurements or tool for rating, for green building rating. You know, BREEAMS, you see that BREEAMS is from UK, and neighbors is Australian product. Neighbors actually come from government initiative. It's particularly from New South Wales government actually. And no, neighbors nationally wide, Australian nationally wide applied to all buildings. And neighbors is most likely focused on energy efficiency, but BREEAMS is more complex measurement for green building. So again, the tools to justify or to give a certificate of green building for buildings around the world, or kind of certificates, are many, actually many. I will mention later. I will mention later how many certificates are actually around the world. We know Green Building Council here in Indonesia, but other than that, we still have BREEAMS, we still have neighbors, we still have Japanese product certification also. Some countries also try to develop their own certification. It's really depend on the context of the country. But the baseline of the measurement actually similar, quite similar. Back to the discussion. So it's proof that national research, isn't it? 8 to 18% sales premium is quite high. 1 million mean like 1 million, 8% from 1 million or 18%. It's quite high, right? Of course, we have to discuss later. It's really worth it with the investment. When we talk about value, mean that we will discuss in the discussion maybe later, right? And see in more detail on this report, London, Prime Central London office building with BREEAM excellent rating, enjoyed 10.5% premium. And on the good rating, a very good rating, only 10.1. With Sydney and Melbourne, with a rating of 5+, enjoy 17.9% premium. With lower reference rating, enjoy only 8.3% premium. Mean that. Which is good. It is impact. Right? So that green certification impact on the value of the building. So we done the discussion, right? Why? Let's prove with the other evidence. In Japan, this is not complete. If you want to see a complete paper from this paper, I can share. I will share to the TVD management. Mbak Cindy, can share it. Please let us know. Please contact Mbak Cindy, then we will share all the resource and the knowledge that we get from this discussion to you all. So based on this study, this is 2007. It's not that old actually. That's fine. In new empirical analysis that they provide, so there is a positive association between green building label and office rents. So rental value. So you guess if you are not valuer, so when we value office building, commercial buildings like office building, we know one of valuation methods, which is income producing or income approach. This is for income producing property. Then the office rental is one of main income for income producing property in form of office. You get what I mean? So when office rental is high, can be said that the value of the property is also high, right? So study in Japan show that there is a positive association between green building methods and office rents, right? Oh, proof. Okay, cool. Then the effect of green certification, the cash flow parameter and sales price of commercial investment property. So this study actually looking for almost some countries and okay, mainly from USA actually, but they try to get data from some countries. We can see the effect of the green certification, which is good, isn't it? And it's increased to 43%. Thanks, yeah. The median for with range 0 to 43%, mean 14.8. We have to explore more who gets 43.0% increase. Yeah, it should be significant that if it is absolutely it is happen, but we can explore more the data from the author setting. Then the median is 14.1%. So it shows that it's proved that building or green building certification or green certification impact on almost every component of income producing property. Positively impact rental income increase, occupancy increase, mean more willing people, more people willing to occupy it or rent or as a tenant green building than the conventional one. Operating cost yield decrease. We see before that the design of green building and the fact so that it will reduce the energy consumption. It will reduce the water consumption. It's cost a lot. And waste management, of course, yeah. Then sell prices increase. So from these indicators, we can see, this is good. So green building. So you see from this map, I took this map from Liu, this 2019, yeah, this comparative assessment building infrastructure. So there are so many KSP from Japan. There are so many what we call tools or green certification tools or assessment. Many, but the most the most popular one is LEED USA and BREEAM UK, KSP Japan, and actually it's not Canada, green building tools. So in the headquarter in Toronto in Canada, but actually they use across the world for green building tools. Yeah, it's like Indonesia. Indonesia use green building tools also, but green building in Green Buildings Council Indonesia adapted the green building tools into Indonesian context. Like climates, they have to adapt. Then of course climates, and then what kind of some materials they also adapt. Because some materials it's quite difficult to find here in Indonesia, so we adapt that. And that's nature of assessment. It's not like one single assessment for every country, but they adapt which country that they have to be applied, then they will adapt based on the context of the country. So there are many, like what I said, but the LED, KSP Japan's, GP tools, and BREEAM is the most popular one. And Australia is Green Star, what is the difference with neighbors? Like I said before, neighbors was initiated by the government and then introduced 2 New South Wales government buildings at the first. Then they escalated to national-wide implementation because the successfulness in the New South Wales government, then no start to the private building and start to across the country. But the focus of NEPRS is only energy efficiency. Green Star is actually green building tools, but for Australian Green Building Council. So it's like Green Building Council Indonesia has their own green building tools. In Australia, we call it Green Star. So in Australia exists both Green Star, some building using Green Star, some building using some buildings are using neighbors also. That tools. All right. So there's so many kind of tools we can see that, oh, it should be good market in there. It should be prospective market in there. But they develop so many tools for green buildings. It's not only, I mean, like it's not only jargon or you know, fancy issue of climate change or sustainability or sustainable development. But I do believe and prove some research proves that is some financial benefit in it. So they build all this kind of business here, which is green building measurement tools and green building industry. But is it wrong? I don't think so. It's wrong. We just save the economy from conventional one to the more sustainable one. That's the motivation. That's the idea actually, right? Right. So come to new business. The more green economy, more green industry, more green and sustainable business like that. That's come to the issue. So when we see from the previous presentation, it looked like that so many studies or maturity studies, they're mainly discussing the progress on the property market in developed countries, mainly UK, USA, Japan, Australia. Some of them China, but it's not really as compared to like USA, for example. Some of them Korea, in Asia, some of them Northern Europe, Sweden, Norway, and something. But yeah, this 4 countries, as an example, is the country that where what I call it, the green building tools, the most popular green building tools were introduced. United Kingdom with the PRIMS, USA with the ELITE, LED, Japan with the GASP, and Australia with the Green Star or neighbors. That's become the issue. So what about developing countries? Is that same? Yes, that's what I was thinking also. Is that same? Is it really impact? So there are some study discussing. So when we cluster the study or evidence from developing countries, most of study is more talking about the motivation. It's more talking about the proposal. It's more talking about the spirits or how to like that. How to make city more green, how to make greening city, how to make sustainable city, how to make green building progress so accelerated, how to make like that. That's the discussion around the green building area or green building development in developing countries. So these are 2 examples in Indonesia and South Africa. It's more saying that it is a good benefit. It's from more people opinion. People say that, okay, I'm good. It's like the analysis of the benefit of green building in South Africa, for example. The interviewing people, how do you feel with the green building? Do you feel better or not? And they say, oh, I feel better here than there. I was thinking like, oh, what I'm thinking still now, oh yes, of course, yes. Green building, most likely a new building, right? And all of us, of course, is feel better, move from old building, not healthy building, may I say, to new building. It's very fresh building. Everyone will say, okay, it's good, it's bring benefits, right? And again, in Indonesia, also talking about the motivation to construct green building in Jakarta. So majority of these studies say, yeah, it is good to have it, but it's not really empirical. It's not many, or it's very limited. It's quite difficult to get it. Is there any empirical evidence, financial evidence, like what is said before in some study in USA or Japan or UK, for example? It's quite difficult to get some other developing countries also. Like, yeah, even in Malaysia also, like, it's quite difficult to get that. Then even Malaysia also claim that, okay, these are quite good. The prospect is quite good, yeah, okay? Then, but it's not really. This data show this premium, how many margin of rental value of green building compared to the conventional one. It's not really clear on that. And then we see in Jakarta, this is two sources. So first is from GRR Indonesia Research. They cons the non-green buildings and green building is very small one, less than quarter. Yeah, less than 25% to all building. And I do believe this, no, all building have been surveyed in Jakarta. This is just building that registered in this most like like registered by this research agency, and usually they use as a source of data to to produce a report, and also most likely it's high-rise building and commercial building. Office building, no. Government building. So how do we know that it's not really discussion in Jakarta? We can see from the report. This is from NACFRAG. This is a prospect of Outlook, not Outlook actually, and the report from NACFRAG in last year actually, at the end of Q4, this 2016 to 2021. If you check all report from property research analysts, it's quite difficult to find or to mention or specifically put the green buildings value on the progress of green building rental value compared to the conventional one. Unlike what we got from other sources in developed countries, it's quite easier. In Indonesia, it's quite difficult to get it. It's mean the property sector's players realize that green buildings are exist, but they don't really consider it is really critical or important thing to be put in the report. It's mean that maybe it's not interesting to study that. Okay, it's not really interesting to study because it's just too small portion. Or maybe it's not really difference in terms of rental value. The market is still similar. Overall market is still similar. It's not preference There is not really preference for tenants or on the prospective tenants, yeah, to looking for a script. Maybe green building is better for me, like that. No, maybe like that. But this is the fact, right? So it's come to the end actually from our discussion, when we see that it is proof green building produce more value, but in the context of developed countries. But in developing countries, there are some uncertainty. We are not really sure actually. Does the building, the green building, built with high or more money compared to the conventional one? Yes, definitely. So many study on that. But to what extent green buildings impact or improve the rental value of the building? Not sure yet. So it's become a tough question to answer that in the case of Jakarta or Indonesia. So I will conclude this very short presentation. So green building impact to its building value. Yes, that's the fact. Evidence from developed countries shows the positive impact of green certification to the building value. That's the fact. There is a lack of evidence from developing countries on what extent to which green certification impact on the building value. So be aware for all of us, a fellow on the property market analyst, or when you are decision makers that are related to this kind of context, the prospects may be bright, the market perspective may be good when we see from the experienced countries. However, comprehensively understanding of the market context is critical to define the impact of green certification on building value. Okay, back to the context, don't just follow the majority of belief. Back to the context, it is correct. Maybe we have to see its different country in developing countries also, maybe. And we need more knowledge, we need more study on that. Thank you so much. That's my short presentation. Hopefully it gives an idea or maybe some initiative or idea. Always good to start to doing that, to study about that. Thank you so much, Mbak Henry. I expect to you now. Thank you, Mbak Henry. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Mbak Cindy. Sorry.
Okay, Mr. Wawan. Thank you very much, Mr. Wawan, for giving such an informative and interesting presentation. So, ladies and gentlemen, now we're going to the next session, which is discussion or time for the question and answer session. Maybe for the first, I'd like to have a two questions from the participants here. Please don't be shy or hesitate to ask your question. And okay, to questioner, please just raise your hand or mention your name before you're giving the opinion. Or maybe you can write down to the column chat. Okay, anyone here? Okay, Bapak, Mr. Arik Haryono, please welcome, Pak. Time is yours to ask.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Cindy. I thought your presentation is very not only interesting, Mas Darmawan, but also in this participant we have some guests, especially I need.
We cannot hear your voice, Pak Erik. Pak Arik.
Okay,
Yeah, that's better.
Without the headset. Yes, thank you, Mas Darmawan or Dr. Darmawan, as the president of Toastmaster Valuer, Directorate General State Asset Management. We have some special guests in this participant today. Mbak Astrid from Denpasar, also Mbak Asti, and some of other participants also. But of course, after I'm trying to understanding about your presentation. So many things in my head, and then yes, actually relate with the climate change and also sustainable development that you mentioned before. We focus the green building that more health and of course give the any benefit for the entire ecosystem, right? Especially for the environment and relate with the big question. Of course, when we talk about the green building, is give more high value than conventional. You already conclude about that. But in many situation and condition, can you explain more? Relate with the we know it before, like intelligent building also, right? So which is what is the differences between the intelligent building and also what the uh, green building? And you also mentioned that in the Sydney and Melbourne, how can more higher than the London? Can you explain why? Like give in Sydney and Melbourne around 17.9% on premium on sale price compared with the in the London only 10.5%. Why it could be happen to be like that? So also we will make a new capital, right? And then relate with the because we are from the government, relate with the regulation also. We already know we will develop more than 250,000 hectare land in the East Kalimantan. So actually, how about the impact of the when we will try to design more earlier, right? And then can we actually monetize? Because when we talk about yes, the climate change and then carbon issue and others, right? It is which is like Indonesia because we have many thing resources about this. But in my opinion, when we can make research about this with very serious and give more what we call it like value to the world also relate with the green, not only just talking about the green building, right? So many issues can we develop from this. So I think, but before I end of my question, is it the how the big impact like the initial cost when we want to build the green building compared with the conventional, right? Because maybe some of people not realize about this. So when you can explain to us, especially for the whole society, that this is very important. Not only today, right? Of course, maybe we will talk about the 10 years later or more than that. Okay, Dr. Darmawan, thank you very much.
Thank you, Pak Arik. Yeah, you should. I should explain this question in your room. That's better. Thank you, Pak Arik. That's a very good question. I mean, like this very critical question and strike to the issue. This very confusing, Pak Arik, yes, about the smart building, intelligent buildings, and green building. Is so many terms around our head. We talk about buildings, and then green buildings usually uh, as a smart or intelligent buildings, right? And smart and intelligent buildings somehow or sometimes not really as a green buildings. That's the thing. So smart or intelligent building is more. We know that means building information management. Yeah. So usually they put some sensor or some. I try to explain easier. Maybe some of our colleagues here, this participant, some of the participants come from engineer or civil engineering would be much better to explain it. But as I try to explain with very easy words. The smart and intelligent building is mostly installed some energy. Some technology. I mean, some technology, very advanced technology to mitigate all the risks of the building. For example, the risk of consuming huge of energy, the risk of detecting the hazardous, the hazard from the material of the building, risk from natural disaster, for example. So we talk about smart and intelligent building. They measure everything. Even like some building, they put like what do they call it? Detection, fish detection or something like that. So they call the behavior, they call something like that. So some building is very technology things when we talk about smart or intelligent buildings. Then as the area in smart intelligent building usually is a cohesion. It has cohesion. It's very close discussion on that area and technology area. I mean, with the green area, because most of the development of green building usually use high technology. That's the one cause. Come for third question. That's one of cause why green building development is quite expensive actually, and is claimed to, I mean, around the world, green building is quite expensive. It's proof. It's more expensive than the conventional one because they install so many technology. But we have to realize that some buildings with quite limited technology installment or installation also can reach very good high certification of green. So it's happened also. So I will from the sustainable perspective, I will say that green building, if you want to make a green building, you really, the spending much money is not only in the one way to make green building. That's the thing. So you can make green building with more friendly approach in terms of investment in the budget. That's the thing. The second question is about market. Pak Arik, we see that Australia has high premium than London. That's what I like my director, Socrates. That's a good point. So we know maturity or market maturity, Pak Arik. Market maturity means that when the city is not really have space to develop, they usually stuck in the equilibrium, demand supply. That means that the market is quite. London is high in terms of price. It's high in terms of price, but the delta, you said, usually the delta usually is quite small. The rental is prime, but the increase of rental is usually very slow. That's the thing. So Melbourne and Sydney is still developed, still expand. Sydney is quite mature actually, but not like, unlike London, of course. They still developed. If I think we have guests here, I know it's Mas Wawan is from the GPPR, Pak Arik is one of. Is joined here. I know it's. Yeah. I got message from my friend all around the world. It's come from. So, yeah, if we talk about Brisbane, Pak Arik went to Brisbane before it. It's 2015. Maybe it's even higher than Sydney and Melbourne. Can be like that because the market is very expansive. The latest reports of the increasing of housing price in Brisbane is higher than Sydney and Melbourne. That's a fact. That's like that. This is about maturity of market actually, the equilibrium. So and then the third question is about relocation of capital city. Yeah. But what I say, yeah, we can measure this about climate change. We can measure how the trade-off to green and what investment to do, and what the compensate to make this conservation still protected. With the, I think they plan to make a green city, Pak Arik, yeah. green city. So I think that's a good idea to ensure that the Borneo forest is not really disturbed by the development of the city in there. So that's the thing. Yeah.
Yes, that's why, Mr. Darmawan, about our new capital, they mentioned that 75% still to be.
But sorry, the voice is but yeah.
I just reminding that 75% in our new capital still to take care to be like a forest. So maybe this is also one of our policy, right? To keep the green environment. So if we combine with the regulation also, I think it's more valuable for the future. Okay, thank you, Mas.
Okay, thank you so much, Pak Aris. Yes, others? Oh, it's DCPP. I think is that Mas Roy? No?
Yeah, me.
Oh,
Thank you, Pak
okay.
Darmawan,
Okay, Bu.
Pak Arik. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you, Pak Darmawan. My name Dwi. Sorry, I didn't put my name for the first time. And thank you, Pak Eric, for the invitations from our WhatsApp group. Yeah, I think your sharing is very important for all of us. That one is new knowledge for me, especially. I believe some of us also that one is new knowledge, yeah, for green building. And you know that government already issue 5 times since 2018 for green suko. And I remember when we developed green framework, one of green project that already deleted by Cicero is a green building. Since we don't have enough tools, or maybe not only tools, but hard for us to find such institutions that has authority to give certified for green building. And I think we need to know more about is there for now, is there any institutions that has authority to give certified for green building in Indonesia, and how we can find the valid data for the green building in Indonesia, of course. And then when you list down for the tools that give the certified for the green building, there are too many, I guess, and many country has different. Each country has different tools. My question is: there any international standard for that? So maybe we can follow use as a benchmark, because for example, when we develop a green framework, we follow such international standard there. And my last questions is I address for Pak Eric. Do you have any program to develop a green building for line ministries? At least we can encourage them for now on that when we develop the asset, especially for building that used to have or used to develop in green building. And that one is I think Pak Darmawan statement in the last for cost of developing the green building actually can be cheap if we can use not for the high technology. So we can use, for example, when I live in village, because I come from village, my father house or my grandfather house is really, really green in my opinion, because we use less of energy, many access to get fresh air, and then many things that we can use water efficiently by using, I don't know, what do you call, gayung, something like that. So it's very, I think we can do such thing that maybe can reduce the cost. Maybe if for Indonesia that we have many shores, we can develop for the green building with our aspect that, okay, we don't have high technology, then we don't need to get or to buy high technology from a developed country, but we can develop green building with our own tools, for example. That's my opinion and my questions. Thank you very much, Pak Darmawan. Thank you, Mbak Cindy, and thank you, Pak Arik.
Terima kasih, Budi.
Thank you so much, Putri. My honor to have this discussion actually. Thank you so much, Bu. Let's me to respond your concerns. The first is about the institution. There is only one institution. If you talking about the institution to certified green, it's only one, which is Green Building Council Indonesia right now. But the issue of that is, you know, this is the council and this is a private, then it's a big cost. It's quite high, the cost. Then it's come to, I will come to your that question about the program, that possibility to build without any, you know, like standard that more friendly or government achievable with the government context here, like that's because like we talk about green suku, I think we talk about government building, isn't it? Yep. So yeah, it's that's this is actually my thesis book. how to improve sustainable building, sustainable public buildings.
You should share your thesis.
Maybe later, maybe later.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah, this framework. So the second one is a benchmark. Yeah. So again, back to the first question, Bu. The assessment on the measurement on the tools of green certification that has by Green Building Council Indonesia is already adjusted to Indonesian context. So like what I said before, the main standard is from Toronto actually, in buildings, global world green buildings actually, but some countries try to adopt this standard, then adjust with the context of the country itself. Like one of example that should be adjust, of course, the climate, for example. We have no heater here, but the aircon Indonesia is the most five biggest consumers of AC, I think, air condition. Yeah. I think Indonesia, yes. That's the first one is Saudi Arabia. Then that's from the benchmark. So I think instead of looking for a global benchmark, if you want to look at the already Indonesian context, we can see the Green Building Council standards or tools. I think that. And is that possible to develop, or let's say, a government green building is more achievable for us? It does. It does. So one of my case study was Gedung Suyudi in the Kuningan, Rasuna Said, okay. Rasuna Said, Health Ministry of Health. Then it achieved the first winner of energy efficiency for national energy efficiency competition. So with the approach very Indonesian, like Pu Dwi said, yes, we use local wisdom. We use how we behave before as Indonesian. We don't need to really install so many technology in this building actually, but this building, I mean, the case of the CUD's building in Ministry of Health, they did not install so many technology in there, but that building can achieve the best achievement for energy efficiency in the building compared to others building that compete on that. So that's the fact that yes, we can do that from the government. And you ask for Pak Arik, I think Pak Arik will have a new program for this book, hopefully.
Okay, good, good.
Then I'm happy to help that.
Okay, thank you.
To make a reality of green suku can be the potential fund from green suku can be improved or can be improved in the future with more development of government green building in Indonesia. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I think. Is there enough from my response?
Yeah, but one thing, I take your invitations to go around to look at the green building
Oh
for
yes,
some
sure, Bu.
times.
Sure, Bu.
With Pak Arik
Oh yes, Pak
and
Arik.
Mbak Cindy.
It's good. Okay, not Bu. As long
Okay.
as Pak Arik agree, I will do that.
We will
Thank you so
discuss
much.
further, Mbak Dwi, about this.
Okay.
And I also said congratulations to Mbak Dwi that already success with the Queen Suku. If
Pak
I'm not
Arik,
mistaken,
could you speak louder, please?
I'm using the earphone. Okay, I
Okay, thank you.
also want to say congratulations one more to Mbak Dwi that already big achievement that if I'm not mistaken, this is Indonesia, the highest and the biggest green
The
suku,
first
right? In the world.
green suku in the world, and
Yes.
now we got recognized for 15 international awards for the green suku.
That's why Mas Darmawan, we should proud with Mbak Dwi. Yes, and we will discuss further, Mbak Dwi, about this.
Sure, sure.
So, okay, we will arrange about this meeting. Okay, thank you, and also about your suggestion to relate with the government, especially to how to can save the energy and everything. Yes, this is very brilliant idea,
Thank you
especially
so
for the
much.
new capital.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Back to Mbak Cindy, please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ibu, for the question. And then maybe anyone want to ask?
Yes, like I mentioned before, we have Mbak Astrid, Mbak Asti.
Mbak Asti, yes, Mbak Asti.
Yeah, we have a
Maybe
lot.
Mbak Asti Widyahari from KJPP.
Yeah.
Also, we have Mas Wawan here.
Oh yes.
You
Yes,
mentioned.
Okay, maybe Mas Wawan from DJPPR.
Oh,
With
Mas Wawan. Okay, Mas Wawan. Okay. We can discuss, right, about everything that very interesting topic. Or Mas Sultan Maulana, maybe you want to ask something?
Hello. Maybe Parik, if there's no one to ask, actually I'll have a question.
Okay.
Maybe yes, Pak Ong. Actually, I've typed about the green certificate for green building in my computer right now, and I found so many type of green certification building. But maybe I miss your presentation. So, what's the green building certification types that can increase the properties marketability in Indonesia? And the second question is there maybe any negative impact or lack of the green building? Maybe that's the question. Thank you, Mr. Wawan.
That's a good point, but the negative impact of green building. Yes. Yeah. The first question was Is that any
certificate, green building
any-
certification type?
Okay, yes. For there are some level of certification. Is from, I think, silver, gold, platinum, like that. If we refer to Green Building Council Indonesia certification, so there would be different assessment criteria, would be different measurement, would be different expectation on each of certificate level. So this really depend on the proposal that we have to, like, for example, you build new building, then you want to be a 6-star or the platinum one. So you have to prepare everything, start from the beginning to achieve the platinum one. But if you only expect to have like silver one, then you also just try to match the expectation that is silver one. So you don't need to expect high, like want to achieve the platinum one. That's one. And the bad of green building, that's good question, really good question. If there is a good, then something there is bad. Like what I say, almost all study that I have learned and discussed regarding this, and from the professional academia, the most challenge of developing green, or the bad impact of green, it's not impact actually, it's the money. But it is only initial outlay. That's it. So it might say that if you want to have green or platinum level of certificates of green building, you have to prepare much money for that. Not only from the certification, but also, of course, to develop the building, because the building require to achieve very high expectation, which is platinum certificate, like that. That's the others. No, I don't. There is no. I don't think so, because the conventional building has bad waste management, and the, for example, water, and it just throw the black water, so the gray water from the conventional one, but the green one, they recycle the gray water. So they recycle the water. That's the thing. The waste management also is very rigid for waste management. You make sure that when you build the green building, you have to not pollute the environment. That's the thing also, the requirement of that. And what else? The recycle of material also, the transportation also. There's so many criteria that ensure the negative impact of development of the green building should be reduced. That's the thing. Is that enough for you? And friend, if you have any comments, or it's not always question, any comment, experience, or sharing, or maybe challenge that what I told before is not correct or something missing, please welcome. I'm really happy to hear that.
Okay, Mr. Wawan, that's enough for me. And actually, we have another questioner here, Mas Dwiki. He'll just raise hand, please.
Yes, thank you, Mbak Zini, for the opportunity. First of all, I would like to appreciate for your presentation, Pak Darmawan. It was so insightful, and it was quite relevant with to this issue. Like we know, like the as the organization, I think we should like support the national agenda, the national development agenda, particularly for agenda number 6 that talk about the climate change resilient, and then also like if I'm not mistaken, that Indonesia also has the commitment in the Paris Agreement that we should lower our carbon emission probably around 29% in 2030 and zero emission in 2050. And if we also look at the government financial report, that probably our fixed asset that categorized in a building, probably its value is about 500 trillion rupiah, and I believe that our building, our government building can contribute more to like support or realize this agenda. So my question is first, what is your suggestion, Pak Darmawan, um, to our existing building, Pak, in order to support this agenda? Should we convert to green building, or can we do another thing that particularly with not burdening the budget too much first? And then the second questions is you already mentioned that there's a lack of data in Indonesia or developing country about the what relationship or connection between the green building and the price. In your very opinion, but what is the causes? What are the causes of this? But what can we do to address this issue? But so hopefully in the future we can find any good data that can help us just to justify the connection between the price and the green building. So I think that's my two questions. Thank you, Bapak.
Thank you, Mas Diki. That's so brilliant question. So existing building. For your information, friends, so new building actually only 2% compare all existing building around the world. So that's the research say. Only 2%. The rest is existing building. So the development of the building only 2%. So when we talk about net zero emissions, 2050, and building contribute almost 40% of energy consumption, with almost 35 to 45% of emissions. It means that almost half of emissions come from buildings. And the majority of population of the building around the world is existing buildings. So if you want to contribute on that emission reduction, you have to intervene the existing building. That's must do So that's very good question. So can we do that on the existing building? Like what I respond to Budui before is existing building. This example of existing building is a unique building for the government. Yes, we can. Some words, if you're looking for information in the internet or Google Scholars or some information from this area, you can type with the words like retrofitting, building retrofitting, or building adaptation, or energy refurbishment for building, or sustainable building refurbishment, or sustainable building retrofitting, like that. It's all what's talking about existing building. Again, because existing building account almost or more than 90% of population worth building. So yes, we can. And how is it? Again, Green Building Council Indonesia actually has the tools to assess the existing building one. But again, it's quite, I may say like it's costly actually. Again, still costly for existing building. Challenging of adaptation or retrofitting of building to be more sustainable or to be more green is what I might say. It's more challenging than build new one actually. Build a new green building actually. But this is a must. If we talk about futures, if we talk about shifting economy from conventional one to green economy, like I said before, we still invest, we still spend money, but the different way of still spend money now in a more sustainable way, like that. So we still invest in the existing building, then we can improve the existing building it's more achievable. Like what I said before, again, that we can achieve sustainable building with very friendly budget. It's quite friendly investment. What we do, like what I said again before, is we use like what we said, like local wisdom, what we habits or behavior. We talk about behavior on the building. Of course, we have to replace the chiller if the chiller is like this building, for example, is just too old. Maybe, or we can how the maintenance process, how the cleaning process, because now it's really hot discussion related green building. We talk about climate change, green buildings, 6 building syndromes, or occupant health. Now, occupant, this really hot, or productivity of occupant, this really hot discussion now. So this impact on how green building impact the occupant productivity, because the research said that if you live or you stay in green building or healthy building, you might have good health or better health than the conventional one. That's the first question. So we do, yes, we do existing one. And what is the cause lack of data in Indonesia? Like, so it is about this a free market, this demand and supply. When we talk about US, intervention in US, LED, the government introduced act or law that all government building has to be energy efficient, has to be compliant with green standard. So it's like government leaderships in the US. In New South Wales, like what I said before, using neighbors also introduced all government building has to be a leaders in energy efficiency and sustainable practice of building, like that. In Vancouver, it's same. Hong Kong, it's same. Some cities in China, same as like that. UK, they start from the government building, they start to introduce the private building. So what if we just let it go, the private doing that? What happened like this now in Jakarta, for example, when the private doing that by themselves, they just feel, where is my incentive? If there is no market demand us, why I should build the building? You get what I mean? There's no demand. There's no, I mean, like the tenant still, oh, why I should choose the green building? Because the conventional one is enough. But if the government try to push the demand, try to give leadership, this would be like intervention to the market, then will be shifting the market to more sustainable, then come up with the new equilibrium of demand and supply of sustainable building, like that. This is what happened actually around the world, how to make the shifting. And the data would be, of course, if you think that is important, we will collect the data, of course. But this is just small pieces of economy or small pieces of proportion of economic incentive. You don't carry about that picture. That's the human behavior incentive for economy. Yeah, is that okay, Mas Cui? Yeah, I think yeah, we can discuss it.
Yes, thank you very much, Baba.
No worries. Anyone comment or adding some issues?
Yes, Pak Wan, we have another Pak Wawan here from the GPPR. Please kindly to ask your question.
Thank you.
I've been scared if Mas Wawan ask question actually.
Okay.
He is my senior, Pak. He is my senior. He's my ustad, my senior, my guru. So yeah. I will listen carefully.
Okay. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Mbak Cindy, and also thank you so much, Pak Alfred, and also Pak Darmawan. I think it's a good presentation and it's very insightful for me. And I have several questions. The first is about the, Darmawan, in some literature or some studies find that greenwashing. And I would like to know that's how to mitigate the overclaim of the green output in this area. My first question. And the second is related with incentive. Do you know what is the proper incentive for people, for institution to encourage build and the green building, green home, and others? I think it's my simple question, Pak Darmawan, and thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you, Mas Wawan. We call Mas Wawan and Mas Wawan. Thank you so much. Yes, yes. Thank you to clearly said greenwashing. It is correct. We know that every single campaign is always market behind that. It's always money behind that. So we have to be aware on that. So overclaiming is not good. Overclaiming should be misleading with the the real achievement that should be achieved in this project, actually in green one. So that's why, Mas Wawan, in this presentation I mentioned, and particularly for the question from Bu Dwi, I mentioned that green, its claim is very expensive. It's a momentum for supplier of technology, building technology, to push themselves, to prepare themselves to get the cash flow from the investment before. So that's part of that. And the benefit, yes, in there, but is that really make sense if we invest too high? That's the thing also. That's why overclaiming in terms of benefits, yes, there are some overclaiming, maybe, what I say maybe, because it's quite difficult to really differentiate, is it overclaiming or not, because usually we call it overclaiming when we compare with the, like cost benefit analysis, So it is correct that, in fact, in many cases, green buildings has less energy consumption. It is correct that in many cases, green building has less water consumption and gives more comfortable for occupants of the buildings. But some study in USA also say that, and when LED, this is a critic from LED intervention. I mean, like when the government introduced and make mandatory for LED to apply to all buildings, this is the critics, that the application of LED is not always resulted the expectation. I mean, like it's not always come to the benefit of green building itself. So again, what I call overclaiming is we cannot, we don't really, I mean, like, please don't directly agree if some building have certification of green, it's mean will achieve this benefit. You get it, Mas Wan, yeah? But green building has this kind of benefit, yes, but not all green certification building achieve this benefit. That's the thing. So again, the best way for achieving, actually we talk about climate change. The main thing is we talk about climate change, we talk about sustainable development, we talk about how to protect the environment, like that. It's not always investing with the green one, what I said. That's why, Mas Awan, my thesis says sustainable building, not green building. Because sustainable building is more a sense than green. Green may be related on certification, and certification it's mean cost. But sustainable, you can achieve even by yourself. So we have to measure it. We have to, it's not really, we have to not always rely on the existing assessment or parameter or certification that already exist? No, because we know our context and we know what we have to achieve on this kind of parameter. So maybe these two of building, like what I said before. So for example, the building of the G block building Jakarta, it has existing green building certification from Green Building Council, because they did retrofitting of the building. It's huge, include replacing what I mean, like installing electricity solar panel. This huge investment. But the CUD building in Ministry of Health, they did not install any kind of technology, even sensor. But they built the behavior, they built some design of indoor design like that, just small intervention. But the result of the energy efficiency, for example, the CUD building has higher achievement than the G block. That's the thing. So again, back to greenwashing, it is yes, it is exists, and we have to be careful to say green and just to believe that green always good. Green certainly also agree to that. The second question is yes, proper incentive. That I'm thinking also, Mas Wan. Maybe Mas Wan have idea for that. Talk about incentive. I know you have idea actually. Because what I learned from the practice that could successfully bring the market into like a good market of green. What I said before, we talked about USA, Australia actually a bit left behind, but it's quite good now. UK is one of the good example. China now starting. Almost all of them is government intervention directly. For example, we talk about solar panel. A solar panel to home, there's direct rebates from the government. It's almost similar, almost all countries like that. And government always in the front as a leader to give an example from the markets and try to, absorb the supply of sustainable material first. So it's like it's like quite difficult. So in Indonesia right now, the demand is low. On the other hand, the material from the supplier are so not available. It's not really available. So it's quite difficult. But how you can supply a very wide range of material, of sustainable material for green development, green building development, but the demand is very low. It's like, what we call it, telur sama ayam. So that's the example. So government, maybe I come up with this, my opinion, I come up with this conclusion that government should be in front of this market driver. So that's the thing for incentive, yeah. So direct incentive and government has to be leader on that to create the market. That's my fun. Maybe not helping you, but hopefully you can give some more insight. I feel not really confident with Mas Wawan actually, Pak Arik, because he is my mentor during my study there. So really my mentor. I always come to his room and asking some more statistical thing, any kind of, even ask for life. Thank you, Mas Wawan.
Thank you, Mas Wawan.
Thank you, Pak Darmawan and Pak Arik. That's very insightful answer. And I know that's the first step is government intervention is must to encourage people institution. So we will thank you, Pak Arik, for your policy. Thank you so much.
We can discuss about this. It's okay. I think it's very interesting topic, right? Relate also with the renewable energy, so we can more widely topic later about this topic. We still have two questions, Mbak Cindy, right?
Yes, Pak Arik. We have two questions from Mbak Asti and Pak Primas. Maybe some of you want to ask directly
Yes,
here,
maybe
or
Mbak Asti, you can ask
yes,
directly because you
Mbak Asti. Mbak Asti is our previous speaker.
before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello, Mbak
Asti?
Asti.
Hello. If not, so you can read the question,
Yes.
Mbak Cindy.
Okay, I will try to read the question. Mr. Wawan, so Ms. Asti just asked, what do you think of the green buildings in Indonesia? Do they really aim for sustainability development, or green features in the building is just a feature to stay competitive in the market? Because it should be really lower the operating expenses. Okay, you're ready to answer, Mr. Wawan?
Yeah, it can be both. So it can be both the real features, like what I said. Oh, yeah. So if it is if you talk about Indonesia, because the numbers of green building is really small compared to the existing one, the conventional one. Maybe the impact is not really hit to. We talk about sustainable development or directly to emission, for example. No, but in individual building itself, there is proof that some benefit they gains from the features they already installed in this building. So yeah, it's both of them actually can be achieved, but for the contribution to the sustainable development or emission as a whole, maybe a little bit, not really. We can feel it like this. I haven't get data yet. How many percent contribution of emission reduction from the building in Indonesia, but yeah, maybe that's part of thing that we have to think about it, yeah, and see what we can do for the next to measure it.
Okay, maybe that's enough answer from Pak Wawan. I hope that it can enough for Miss Asti too. And we have maybe this is the last question, Pak Wawan, for this session from Pak Prima. Would you mind to ask directly here, Pak Prima? Okay. Okay, if there's no answer, I will read the question. As a governing failure, or maybe the GKN or MOF as institution, what should we do to encourage stakeholders applying this trend in the construction in order to deal with some global challenges like climate change, carbon emission, and so on? Thank you, Pak Darmawan.
I think we have to wait Pak Arik to produce some more policy innovation on that. I think Pak Arik and Bu Dwi already in there. Thank you, Pak Arik, to meeting us with Bu Dwi and Mas Wawan. It's really a valuable opportunity. It's really rare opportunity. Then, if we can start with the government, if we can start with the government leaderships, if we can start with the existing buildings, we don't need to wait too long to introduce to KL, to agencies, to ministries, to aware that it is important and it is contributes not only for the national budget, of course, but also to the people, us particularly. So just quick mentions. Can you imagine, Mbak Cindy, or can you guess how much rupiah we spend for electricity? For office building, government office, around, I mean, across the country.
I don't really know. Maybe a trillion rupiah.
You just guess how much?
Maybe 100 trillion. It's too much.
Yeah, we can. That's the thing. Trillion, more than 10 trillion per year. So 10 trillion. So we can build and study from BKF. I think the fiscal agency said that we can actually make efficiency for energy range between 25 to 30%. So 30% from 10 10 trillion, or let's say 3 trillion per year, I mean that we can build huge of health facility, puskesmas, or schools, or anything. So that's the thing. That's a real contribution for us. Thank you, Mbak Cindy.
Okay, thank you, Pak Wawan. Maybe that is the last question for today's event because the time is almost up. And then, ladies and gentlemen, so finally we come to the end of this group session. Before closing the discussion, I would like to thank the speakers, Pak Wawan Darmawan Dwi Atmoko. I'm sorry, Pak. And then all the participants for their very active participation. Hopefully the presentation will give benefit for us. Finally, please give the applause to the speaker and all of you. Thank you, Albert. Then this discussion session regarding the green building has ended. Well, for the last speech, with all due respect, please welcome Director of Valuation, Pak Arik Haryono.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Cindy. Just briefly closing remarks that what Dr. Darmawan said with the green buildings we already discussed, and also we have some of input from discussion. Just in my insight that we really need action of this, right, from discussion as the government especially. So we have also make more campaigns. We know that pandemic, COVID pandemic 19, that relate with the energy issue, that we make also open space environments, everything is just how to make it more efficiency. That's why for other discussion, I think so we have to need Mas Darmawan need more action, right? So that's why I need some of regulation, like Bu Director said, right? So yeah, I relate with the barang milik negara also. So everything now when they want to build office or buildings, everything is that already make any consideration about this, especially how to make more health, how to make more like intelligent building also. When if I'm not mistaken, already actually around already 1980s was already developed. That's why when there is no any workers or person inside the rooms, and then the electricity directly will black out or something like this. So this is more save the energy. Okay, thank you so much for the whole participants, and we have a lot of interesting discussion in the future related with the failure and also asset management and other things that will be discussed in the next opportunity. Thank you, Mbak Cindy, and thank you all participants. Terima kasih. Arigatou gozaimasu. Oke, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thanks to Pak Arik for the closing remarks. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is concludes the whole event for today. We do apologize if there is any mistake or something that make uncomfortable during this session. We're looking forward to see you in the future event. Stay safe, stay healthy. I'm Cindy signing off. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Terima
kasih Pak Arik, Pak Darmawan, sukses
Terima kasih
selalu.
Mbak Dwi. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih Bu Dwi, senang sekali.
Sampai ketemu di
Kapan-kapan diskus ya.